Welcome to Daily Armor. Today we're going to be in Isaiah 58, again, still in verse number 11. I cannot seem to get out of this verse. I just keep reading over it and getting something else that the Lord wants to show me, some other little nugget that I just want to ponder on. And this morning when I was reading it, I noticed that if I kind of took the phrase, and the Lord shall, because the first part of this verse number 11 mentions some things that the Lord shall do. And then the end of verse number 11 is going to be some things that are produced through us that He's done. He's done the prep work in us. And then some things that are going to be produced through us. But I want us to look at the first three things that it says, and this is when we're lined up with Him. This is the only way that these things are going to happen. They come with some ifs and some thens. That if we're lined up with Him, if we're listening to the shepherd, if we're doing those things that He has instructed for us to do or to not to do, our attitudes are lined up with Him. This is what He says He will do. And the Lord shall, first of all, He shall guide thee continually. He shall always guide us as long as we're lined up with Him. If we stray off, if we walk away, if we, want to just buck up and do our own thing, then He's, we're not listening to Him. We've left Him. He's not left us. He said He will never leave us and He'll never forsake us. But He didn't say that we would never walk away. And we can, and we do, and it happens. And sometimes we don't even mean for it to happen. Sometimes we don't realize it happens. We just get to nibbling a little over here, and then before we know it, we look up and, Lord, where are you? Where did you go? And He's like, I didn't go anywhere. It was you. And so when we're lined up with Him, He says He will guide us continually. That's never stop. That's every moment. I need Him every day. I need Him every hour. He's going to guide us and satisfy thy soul. That's that internal work. That it doesn't mean that the circumstances are perfect. It doesn't mean that things are the way we want. It just means that we're going to be satisfied and okay with the way things are, with where we are, with if you're in a waiting process, if you're going through a transition, if you're going through if you're grieving, if you're going through pain, if your body has been sick and it's taking time to get through it, and you're wanting that healing to take place, and it doesn't happen instantly always. Sometimes it takes time. I know that before that I had my surgery for my hysterectomy, my body I was just getting weaker and weaker and weaker all the time. And even after surgery, I knew that what I needed happened. I knew that healing had begun for me. And I felt so much better pretty much immediately, but I was not strong again. It took me a good 2 years to feel like I was kind of back to normal. And then internally, seemed like I was able to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And even this year have made another really leap forward. And it's because of the work that was happening on the inside, and the work that God's doing on the inside to satisfy the soul. And then if we say, and the Lord shall guide thee, and the Lord shall satisfy the soul. I can't satisfy myself. You can't satisfy yourself. Somebody else in your life can't satisfy you. Somebody else can't make you happy. But God's saying, I can satisfy the soul. And He says, even in drought, even when you're without, even when you're in a desert place, even when things are seeming like nothing's going on, nothing is happening, He can satisfy us in the midst of all of that and make fat the bones. Make fat. And this is the Lord. And the Lord shall guide thee, and the Lord shall satisfy thy soul in drought, and the Lord shall make fat thy bones. I'm like, I went over that in the previous devotion, and I hit on it, but then when I was reading it again this morning, I was like, Lord, there's some more good stuff there. I didn't take the time that needed, and I need to, go back over that. And then I'm realizing that making fat thy bones is that external. It's happening on the inside, but it's also going to be coming through on the outside. And this is all of this that God is doing. He is making us ready. He's preparing us. He's equipping us. He's doing some things on the inside that's we're going to need to put into practice, to put into play a little bit later. It makes me think of And I've asked Todd, a lot about his military service and a lot about what happened during basic training. And all of the things that they were doing, they were kind of breaking them down. They were going through hard and difficult and painful things. And they were equipping them. They were getting those bodies ready. They were getting them prepared. They were taking care of some things that needed to be taken care of. They were doing the prep work to make them strong soldiers. He's doing the prep work on our insides, attitude, the internal things that we need to do, building up our bones, which is the source of our strength. Our strength comes from our bones. And if the bones are weak, you're going to be weak. If the bones are weak, I'm going to be ineffective. I had a DEXA scan several years ago that revealed I had a little osteopenia showing up. That means I was headed toward, I don't have osteoporosis, but it looked like I was heading that way. And my doctor said, you need to do a lot of walking. You need to do a lot of resistance training. It's making those bones have some impact. And I love to walk, but I need to do that more to strengthen. And even as far as, it needs to handle the impact. And so you've got to make it impact something. It's not even like I can just go out here and swim all the time, because that's all nice and smooth and that feels good, but that my body, that my bones need that impact as well. Not that swimming isn't healthy, because it's so healthy, but I needed to have that. It needs to involve pressure. If the bones are given some pressure, then when all of a sudden pressure comes, they're able to handle the impact. And that's what he's wanting to do. And that's what he said he will do when we are lined up with him. And it's very exciting. But it involves being submissive to him. Not me, not someone else, not always what I want to do. I know this last year he had a whole lot of things that he wanted us to do as a couple, Todd and I as a couple, that he wanted us to take the long way to get there. We could have took a shortcut and it could have been real super easy, but he didn't want us to do it that way. He wanted us to take the long way, because he was prepping us for some things that are, yet to come, things that are not even here yet, but he's prepping us for some things. And so we knew there was a purpose, and he satisfied us in that we had to do it the long way. And he satisfied us, our soul, in the midst of it, because we knew that he had the plan. He's got the purpose for it. He's the one that's training us and prepping us, and he was readying us for whatever battles are coming in the future. And he's doing that by guiding us. He's doing that by satisfying the soul, even in drought. And he's doing that by making fat our bones. And in other words, when he's making fat our bones, he is arming us. He is ready. He is prepared. He's equipping us. Equipping us, giving us strength, preparing us, working those bones, working those muscles. We all know in exercise, if you want to strengthen your muscles, you have to work them. If you don't work the muscles, they're going to get smaller and smaller, and we're going to get weaker and weaker. But if we want to have strong muscles and we want to be able to go and do more, then we have to use those muscles to the point of fatigue. That muscle, like if we're using weights and we're going to use weight, and it's like, I'm just tossing our weight around. That muscle is like, oh, we can handle that. Pick up something a little heavier. And so then I have to pick up something that's a little heavier. And, this is my water bottle, and it's pretty full. If I do this enough times, my muscles are going to be like, okay, lady, we're getting tired. And that means that I'm working that muscle now, and to the point of fatigue. So sometimes God will put us through some things because, and we're going to get fatigued from it. It's going to involve maybe some pain. It's going to involve some pressure. It's going to involve some discipline. God's got some things because he's prepping us. He's preparing us. He's training us. He's equipping us. And he's making us fat. He's making those bones strong. He's given us that density that we need, that thickness that we need, so that when we get out here and we just do a little trip or something, that we don't break something, but that we can handle that pressure that's going to be coming. We can handle that strike. We're going to be struck at. We're going to be, so, things are going to come at us. It's going to come at us from the left. It's going to come at us from the right. The enemy is out there lurking, seeking to whom he may devour. He's always out there, ready to pounce. And we need to be able to handle the impact. I get knocked down a lot. But by God's grace, he gives me the strength to get back up. And in that training and that stuff that he's doing in my life and in your life, that's what he's enabling us to have that strength. Those muscles are getting worked. Those bones are getting impacted so that they can handle the impact, and prepping us for what he has in store for us. We have to be able to be strong enough to go into battle. When Todd was in basic training, they were making these men and women strong, so they could go into battle and have the strength to go forth into battle. So they could handle having all this load that they're carrying, this extra that they're carrying, their packs, their supplies, the things that they need. And they could, run to wherever they needed to run to, hike to wherever they needed to hike to, go into whatever circumstances they needed to go into. And that's what God is doing for me and God is doing for you. We're soldiers. We're soldiers in the army of the Lord. And he's going to take us through some training. He's going to take us through some disciplines that we have to, we have to listen and go by what he says. He's got the plan. I don't have the plan. I need to stay close to him so I can listen and I can hear and I can keep my eyes on him. And when I keep my eyes on him, then every little step of the way and continually he's gonna guide me, and and even when things get hard and things get difficult and when stuff is hurting, when there's a drought, when I'm in this waiting process, when I'm it seems like nothing's happening, the Lord's saying, Noah, I'm satisfying you. You are okay. You don't have to have everything your way. You're okay and you can be satisfied. And that was something that I had prayed in the past. Lord, I want to be satisfied with where I'm at. I want to be satisfied with what I have. I don't want to have to always be having to have more and more and more, because I want to be satisfied with where I'm at. And the Lord has done that in my life. It's not something I did. It's something that he did. And he said that he's going to do that. And that he is the only one that's able to do that. I can't even satisfy me, but he can satisfy the soul, internally satisfy that soul. And he shall make fat thy bones. Getting us prepped and getting us ready, getting us equipped. So whatever you've been waiting through, whatever is coming, maybe it's coming this 2024, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be 2025. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is for me. I don't know what it is for you. But in the midst of all this, he's making fat our bones. In other words, he's getting us prepared and ready and equipped for what's to come. He's making us strong. Maybe it doesn't look like to everybody else that we're strong. Maybe everybody else, maybe even to yourself, you don't feel like you're getting stronger. But God's saying, you got to give some things time. We can't always do things the quick way. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to exercise one time and boom, I'm going to have all these muscles that I'm going to make me strong. No, we got to put in the work. We got to build things up. When I'm looking at the physical parts of it and correlating that with the spiritual parts of it, I looked up some things that you can do to build the muscles, some things that you can do to strengthen the bones. And it was talking about this impact, and it was talking about, working until exhaustion. And to physically strain those muscles. If you want to build them, you got to physically strain them. And sometimes we have to go through those physical strains, those emotional strains, those mental strains, those internal strains. But as we're going through them, the body is getting accustomed to that, and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And the Lord's doing that in my life, and the Lord's doing that in your life. And I'm excited because he said there's going to be some results. The end of verse number 11 is some of those results that are going to be produced through us. It's going to come out of us. And it's not going to be anything that I've done or anything that you're done, but the work that God's doing in us, it's going to come out of us. And I'm very excited to even get into that next section. So thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.